Well, hi, I'm Larry Totzke, and this is View from the Pew. And I'm here today with my friend Cathy Searles. Cathy, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm really humbled you invited me, so thank you so much, Larry.
And I'm really looking forward to talking about being salt and light today. And that was the topic of our sermon this past Sunday. And I would just like to read a couple of verses as we get started, because I want Cathy to share with us how God has used her as both salt and light in a lot of different situations. So here's the background of the passage. It says, Jesus is saying, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything, but is thrown out and trampled underfoot." Then he says, "You are the light of the world. The city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one after lighting a lamp puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." Let your light shine to others. Cathy, just talk for a little while about how God has used you to be salt and light.
You know, after I listened to Chrissy's sermon the other day, I've been reflecting a lot about this, and I thought, like many families here, you might have grown up in the church, and your family went to church as a family. Well, in my family, we didn't do that, but we were Christians. And I was thinking about when God first started planting seeds in me. I always knew that I wanted to help people. I wanted to be kind. I wanted to be a guiding light. And so throughout grade school and high school, he presented a couple opportunities that there were other students in need that I reached out to and could help. When I was in college, I went to Eastern Oregon College, where there was just a diverse group of students, from Native Americans to Hispanic, and I was in many of the classes with him because of anthropology and sociology classes. So he once again presented opportunities for me to help students from other cultures. And as I was doing it, I was finding out, besides it feeling good, that I was learning from them as they were learning from me. And it was, it just felt really good. And I thought, boy, I'm in the right degree that I wanted to go after, because it was cultural anthropology, sociology. Eventually, after I graduated, I ended up at Clackamas Community College for about 30 years. And I ended up in a program that worked with a lot of alternative type of students, teens and adults. And so throughout the years, I was either helping them to just increase their skills so they could get into trainings, helping them to get their GED, high school diploma, college prep. For a while, I taught English as a second language. And I worked with a diverse group of students. And how I mean that is I had students certainly from different cultural backgrounds, from different countries, from different economic positions. I had students that there through the Department of Human Services. I had gang members in my class, and one year I ended up with opposing gang members in my class. That should have never happened, but it happened. I ended up with a white supremacist that was in my class. In fact, he was on TV a few times. And just a variety of other students throughout the years. So some of these came from pretty tough backgrounds. And some of them came from horrible backgrounds from school. So we're coming in with really defense mechanisms. I interviewed every student that came into my program because I wanted to get to know this student. And as I interviewed them, I treated them with kindness, respect. I was not judging, and I said, we're starting with a clean slate here. You may have made these decisions and may have done these other things in the past. And I also had some that came out of prisons. But this is where you're starting at today, and where you're starting a fresh slate. And as long as you treat me with respect, I'll always treat you with respect in the classroom and out of the classroom. And in those 30 years, I only had one fight in the classroom, and actually it was at lunchtime. Being treated with respect, knowing the rules, those students knew what was expected in that classroom. And they knew that nothing, no actions or words that could be said that would offend or hurt any other student. And they abided by that. And even some of these tough gang members and the white supremacists. So what I was hoping, especially some of those who were pretty die-hard, that I was planting seeds, that I was planting seeds of kindness. And I didn't go around saying I'm a Christian, but I shared Jesus' Christian love, and to be humble. And I let my students know every day that as you're learning from me, I'm learning from you. And it paid off, because at the end of the year, if they earned a diploma or a GED, we had this big celebration. At the end of the year, it was a graduation. There was more excitement in that auditorium and more electricity of those students getting a GED or diploma, because those parents or family or those students never thought that they would get to that point. They never thought they would have to achieve that type of goal. And so it was a true celebration on the night that we had that. And it would be amazing to have some of these big, tall, lanky boys. They would come up and they would just hug me and say, thank you, and off we would go to celebrate. So it was a great 30 years, and I learned a lot. I learned that that God speaks through us in many ways, and this indeed was where I was supposed to be. And throughout that, I did coaching soccer for about 14, 15 years. Same thing, I treated each one of those boys with respect and dignity. And they were treated the same, they all played the same, and some of those excelled amazingly with their skills because they were given the same amount of time and known that they were an important part of that team. My brother, one brother who was a Vietnam vet, eventually became an alcoholic and passed away, but from his latter part of his life, that's when I became connected with helping the homeless. From Roger's passing, I started taking drug and alcohol classes and started learning more about that, and in turn that helped me to help my students more and to understand where they were coming from, because some of my students either came from recovery programs or needed to get into a recovery program. So that helped me. And I just see wherever I can find myself to be the light for someone, to be the light, to share kindness or joy, and or just helping someone. So yeah, so that's what it takes me here, and that's why I love ushering and greeting so much here.
Yeah.
I love welcoming people into this church.
Yeah.
It just felt so good to just welcome people, so I'll be glad when we can get back into welcoming people personally into this church again.
Yeah, I think we all will.
Yeah.
But you know, your stories there remind me that someone once said that we are supposed to love the Lord with all our heart, soul, and mind. And we are supposed to share that love of Jesus with everyone we come in contact with. Mm-hmm. But use words only when necessary. Mm-hmm. And that's what you exemplify, I think. You were showing those students and your brother and others the love of Jesus, but you were doing it through kindness. Mm-hmm. You were doing it through being considerate, through giving them respect, and helping them to come from where they were, which wasn't in a very good place, to at least being able to get their GED and having some desire to go on from there.
Yeah, and I've had many students that became successful college graduates. I have some that connect with me on Facebook. I'm just amazed where they're at in their lives. And what's neat is publicly on Facebook, they said, Cathy, we could have never done it without you. That brings tears to my eyes, because this is many years later, and they're still remembering me as I remember them.
Exactly. Yeah. That's you. It seems to me, and I think you would agree, that God put you where He wanted you. He planted you where He wanted you to grow, and you have grown, and you have served Him by just accepting where you were and doing what God wanted you to do.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
And now you find yourself in charge of a ministry in this church. that I believe is one of the most important that we have. And I'd like you to talk for a little bit about that and about how you have seen your involvement in that grow.
Okay, so I am the elder of missions and caring team. When I had left this church many years ago for about 10 years and then came back, and I've grown more in my Christian faith since then. But when I came back, I was invited to be part of the missions team. I can still remember Louise Anderson invited me, and I was thinking missions, like mission to Africa. And I says, oh, I'm not a missionary, I haven't been a missionary. And she says, nah, I think this would be a good place for you, Cathy. And so I became a member, and then eventually when I became an elder, I expressed an interest that I'd like to be the elder of the missions caring team. And I love the group of people I work with, and I am humbled by that committee or that team. So the caring team, this is a group of people. They're the ones that are reaching out to people that are homebound or in the hospital or other needs. And so I'm sure many of you have received phone calls or visits from Eddie and Linda Minsinger over the years, and there's other people that are helping with that. We've got Joanne Devlin that does the prayer chain. That is just so necessary, so we all keep up on what's happening with people and to be able to pray for other members of our congregations or friends. And then we've got Louise and Jim, who are the head of the Backpack Buddies. And this is so important because this is the program where we are packing for children who are coming from homes where they may not have as much food as others. And so this weekend food helps them make it through the weekend and having some food in their tummies. Right now, we're doing a little bit different. And so instead of doing the Backpack Buddies as a bag, every week for them, we're packing a box once a month and including things like for meals for the whole family. And so we are doing something that they're needing right now until the children go back to school, and we do the Backpack Buddies as we used to. But that is a need that was expressed by Lot Whitcomb School, and Jim and Louise jumped right on it and got the team back together doing that important task. Through the missions, we are sort of the guardians of the Loaves and Fishes Fund that people has just wonderfully, from this congregation, donated to, and that fund has helped organizations and then families who are meeting crisis right now because of the pandemic. We have helped Clackamas Service Center. We've donated peanut butter. We've donated money to them. The Wichita Center for the housing, and then also for the food we've donated. We've donated to Love Inc. to help that program keep going and to get important foods and hygiene products out to their clients. And right now with Clackamas Service Center, because we can't do a dinner, and I already emailed and said, I know there's not a way to do the dinner because there's something else we could do. So what we're doing, and we're going to be using the money that was set aside for that, so no one has to give any more contributions. And we are going to pack plastic bags, gallon plastic bags. We're putting in hats and gloves, granola bars, juice, a deck of cards, hand warmers, and they're in a gallon. We're packing 125 of them that they can be handed out to people at the Clackamas Service Center. So we are helping them, and this will be done at Christmas time. So that's in lieu of the Clackamas Service Center dinner. So I do want people to know we're still doing something.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit different this year.
Right.
And certainly missions support our missionaries. We support the Rasmussen family. So yeah, we are still alive and working through the caring team and the missions.
Yeah.
And I truly cherish being part of that.
Well, I think that, again, that ministry is a really, really important ministry of our church. It allows our church to be salt and light in more of an organizational way, even as each of us as individuals are supposed to be salt and light in our own lives. I had an opportunity to sit in on one of Cathy's meetings recently. And actually, Cathy, it was a meeting where you weren't there because you were dealing with having to be out of your home due to the fires at that time.
Right.
But I was amazed. I guess I wasn't surprised because I know a lot of the people, but I was just amazed at the enthusiasm and the desire to serve from every person on Cathy's team. And the number of calls that were made to individuals who are homebound that month was amazing. The desire to pick up a new ministry or a new opportunity and to run with it, it was like everybody was all hands on deck. And I really appreciate that about our church. And Cathy, I appreciate that about you as a person in our congregation who has always got a smile on her face and who is always greeting people and being so kind to people that people who come here can't help but be welcomed when you're around.
Oh, thank you. And you know, in this church, we see a lot of salt and light because many of the people here are very just gracious, giving, kind, welcoming, you know, to strangers and other members alike. It is a beautiful church, and that's why many people say, you know, to be part of this church is truly to be part of a family, and that's how it feels to me. And that's why I think right now a lot of us are needing this family. And so, you know, like hopefully in December with everything working out, we will be able to come and to share and to see each other with our mask on and to start congregating again.
Yeah.
Because this is a beautiful place to be.
Right. Thanks, Cathy. I really have enjoyed our time together today.
Okay, thank you so much, Larry, and blessings to all.